Welcome everybody, how are you doing? Let's talk some more about tech and Parler and Twitter and Amazon and the purge and all the terrible stuff that is happening in big tech in the United States and in this free speech, what looks to be like a freedom of speech, freedom of competition, freedom to exist battle that is taking place in America. Very much a David and Goliath battle, very much big tech looking to take over the United States, and some smaller social media sites that are trying to fight this. I've talked about how Gab has done a very good job, a successful job, though God, I imagine it must have been tremendously difficult breaking free from big tech, and but they did it. And once again, I'll say it again, they have paved the way for other social networks to break free from the prison that it seems we're all in. But this headline from Zero Hedge reads like this: Twitter plunges after Trump ban, Parler site taken offline. Now, I've been saying that Twitter is toast. They are done. And yes, they are done. I don't know when, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, but make no mistake about it, Twitter will not last. You can't run a social network when you are openly hostile towards half of the American population. You can't run a business when you're openly hostile to half of your customer base. I can't sell shoes only to Democrats and believe that I'm going to be a profitable business. Also keep in mind that Twitter is a public company, and every quarter they need to perform for shareholders. Otherwise, there is going to be hell to be paid. And I imagine there is going to be changes at the top with the management. So as we see in this chart here, we see that Twitter's stock is completely cratering. Here you can see right here, if you see my cursor right there. And Wall Street is not going to be happy with Twitter, because no matter how woke Wall Street is, no matter how woke they play it, at the end of the day, it's all about the love of money. It's all about the love of money. What did Gordon Gekko say? Greed is good. That is Wall Street. So I'm actually interested to see what happens to Twitter in 3 to 6 months. Dorsey, I wouldn't be surprised if they give Dorsey das Boot and get rid of him. But, Twitter stock is going to crater, and it's going to be a very easy target and a cheap target for someone to purchase. Microsoft, maybe Amazon itself, maybe Google. Maybe the oligarchs sat at a table and they told Jack, Zuckerberg and Cook and Bezos, and they sat there and they said, Jack, why don't you, since, Twitter is Trump's favorite platform, why don't you make the first move and ban them, and, we'll follow right behind you, and we got your back. And Jack may have said, yeah, okay guys, yeah, I want to be on I want to sit at the big boys table, because everyone knows that Twitter is the small little doggy in the bunch. And so Twitter did it. And now you have Microsoft and Amazon and Google probably eyeing Twitter and saying, we're going to get Twitter on the cheap. And even if Twitter has, half the user base, all the data and everything that Google can just swallow up probably would make it worth it. All the assets and everything that they can get from Twitter will probably make the purchase, a good buy. God knows Twitter has been struggling for ages to get a social network. I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm talking about like a traditional type of social network where you post stuff. Twitter has tried. They tried with Twitter. Google has tried with, remember Buzz? When they tried Buzz and they had other stuff, and it's been one failure after another. So they could probably purchase Twitter and say, it's okay if we only deal with half of the US population, the crazy woke side of America, because we're Google and we've got so many other vehicles that we could use to to monetize Twitter in one way or another, monetize the ads. That, you know, it could be worth it for them. Amazon too doesn't have any type of social network, nor does Microsoft. So anyway, Twitter's sinking. The stock is sinking. It's not going to get any better. Traders are clearly worried. Zero Hedge says, as Twitter shares are down 7% in pre-market trade, building on losses from after-hours trading on Friday as well as Sunday night. The article says, as it turns out, Wall Street isn't happy with Twitter's decision to permanently ban President Trump, one of the service's high-profile users. Analysts are afraid the decision could expose Twitter to more regulation. As Mirabaud analyst Neil Capling said, the ban could open Twitter up to more regulation under the next administration, now that the platform is clearly making editorial decisions about what type of political content is and isn't appropriate. I don't think Twitter's worried about the Biden administration, but Devin Nunes is calling now for racketeering investigation into big tech. Nunes is saying that he wants racketeering investigation into big tech. Where were you guys 2-3 years ago? 4 years ago? Where were you? Where were you 4 years ago? Everyone knew that big tech was a cartel. Where have you guys been? Too little, too late for Congress. And I don't believe Congress anyway. But Devin Nunes is one of the good guys. So we'll see. We'll see what will happen. So from Citizen Free Press, they are saying that Parler is toast. I'm hoping Parler gets their act together, finds a host, and gets up quickly. They should have been prepared for this. Hosting with Amazon, bad idea, guys. Bad idea. I know they're the big dog in town, but Parler. Look at hosts in Russia. Look at hosts in Russia. Look at hosts in Iceland. You got to get out of the U.S. It pains me to say it, but I never thought I would live to actually say it. You can't do business in the U.S. You just can't. Your service is in danger of being censored. Period. I mean, what kind of world do we live in? Companies used to go to the U.S. for protection and for a safe harbor against censorship and authoritarianism, totalitarianism, techno-fascism, all that stuff. People used to go to the U.S. to open up tech companies. Guys, we're seeing the reverse. You want to be safe as a tech company now? Host with data centers outside the U.S. I would strongly suggest Iceland. I would strongly suggest Russia. And you could look at, it sounds strange to say, but you could look at Germany and you could look at the Netherlands, Switzerland as well. I say that with a little bit of reservation because obviously Netherlands and Germany is the EU, but I'll tell you why you could look at Germany and the Netherlands. They're pretty good about this stuff. So Parler, you guys have to think outside of the box. Get out of the States. If you need to host in a big data center because you have hundreds of servers, you need to get out of the US. So anyway, I believe it's Jonathan Matson, the Parler CEO. He says they are literally trying to kill us. So he was on, John Matson. He was on Maria Bartiromo, Fox News Sunday Morning Futures, and he says our service has been dropped by every vendor and could end our business. Now, I'm going to play you guys a little bit of that interview. And this is interesting because Matt said when the ban was first announced by Amazon, he said, we're going to fight it. He says, we've been prepared for this and people shouldn't worry. We'll be back up. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he said he gave the impression that they'll be back up. Obviously, that's not going to happen for them. They weren't prepared for this. At least that's what it seems like. They weren't prepared for this. And that was a big mistake. They should have been prepared for this. It's amazing that they weren't. This was a strategic error, a big time error because they should have realized they were in the crossfire. And whether it was what happened on the 6th or whether it was something else, they were bound to be taken down. It was going to happen because people should understand that Silicon Valley is a cartel. And, they protect each other, and I'm going to show you why they protect each other. So let's listen to what he told Maria Bartiromo. Things are not looking good for Parler. I'm pulling for them. Guys, if you know anybody at Parler, tell them if you need hosting, if you need big data centers, we can get hundreds of servers. It sounds very counterintuitive. It sounds very strange to say it, but go Russia, go Iceland. Iceland has a fantastic tradition of championing free speech and freedom of expression. Check it out, guys. I mean, you got to think outside of the box now, Parler. You got to think outside of the box, and you got to get up quickly. Every day that you're down is, your people are forgetting about you. So they need to sort it out, and I'm pulling for them. But here's what Matson told Maria Bartiromo.
They all worked together to make sure at the same time we would lose access to not only our apps, but they're actually shutting all of our servers off tonight, off the internet. So they made an attempt to not only kill the apps, but to actually destroy the entire company. And it's not just these three companies. Every vendor from text message services to email providers to our lawyers all ditched us too on the same day. And we're going to try our best, to get back online as quickly as possible, but we're having a lot of trouble because every vendor we talk to, says they won't work with us because if the Apple doesn't approve and Google doesn't approve, they won't. Yes, Amazon is the largest cloud storage vendor in the world, and we use them to host our servers, hundreds of servers. And they gave us basically, they said, you have 24 hours to get all of your data and to find new servers. So, where are you going to find 300 to 500 servers in a 24-hour window, and how can you send all of the data from everybody out to them in a 24-hour period? It's an impossible feat that, we're going to handle as best we can to get back online as quickly as possible. But, there's just some things that are almost basically impossible.
Right. He said there are some things that are almost basically impossible. That's a bad omen. When I hear that from a CEO, I'm saying, uh-oh, doesn't look good. We'll see. We'll see how it shakes out, guys. That's the way Silicon Valley, that's the way these guys operate. The one company protects the other. And some people think they're actually in competition. They're not. They all go to breakfast together. They all hang out at bars together. People that work there, they go from one company to the other. The VCs that invest in the one company invest in the other. This is Silicon Valley is it is a cartel community. It's that simple. And Amazon is going to move to protect Twitter if Twitter has any type of competition. That's exactly what they did. And this article from Motley Fool shows that Twitter is also an Amazon customer, probably a very, very big one. This is from December 22nd, 2020. Twitter and Amazon team up on cloud infrastructure. So I've said it many times that Twitter is a poorly run company. It's a complete mess, and it's not going to get better for Twitter. But back in December, they decided that a good way to fix some of their expenses was to work with Amazon and to improve their hosting infrastructure, because that's what Amazon is best at. Amazon Web Services, they're the best. You heard the Parler CEO say that Amazon is the largest cloud hosting provider in the world. They are. They're not the only one, though. And people in America may think, I have nowhere else to go. Mr. Matz, get on a plane and go to Russia. Go to Iceland. Get your team and move. What else can I say? Maybe look at other states in the U.S., states that are pro-free business, pro-free speech. Texas, Florida. I'm sure there are states that will welcome you as well, but you got to get moving. So Amazon came to Twitter's aid, one, because they're buddies and they're going to protect each other and they're going to protect their cartel. And number two, because Twitter is an Amazon customer, and a big one. Parler is an Amazon customer, but I'm positive that if Parler has 100 servers on the Amazon cloud, Twitter probably has 1,000. So obviously Twitter won out. Now, Jack Dorsey, in his infinite stupidity and arrogance and hubris, us Greeks, we know about hubris. Trust me, it's going to be a very painful fall for these guys, because hubris, ego, not a good thing. And obviously, Dorsey hasn't read his Greek mythology. And Dorsey was mocking Parler after the purge. So this is a very cowardly move, by the way. So Parler was top of the chart here. And here you can see one of the tweets from Christina Wong, which says Parler is now the top free app. So after President Trump was nuked off Twitter, another stupid move, but nonetheless a shocking move. Nonetheless, he was nuked off Twitter. Parler became the #1 downloaded app. And then Dorsey made a call to Google and to Apple, and he said, please help us because Parler is eating our lunch. And notice here, Signal is the #2 app, and TikTok's #3. But notice here, Signal, private messaging app, is #2. And Amazon and Google and Apple said, yes, Jack, we'll help you. We'll come to the aid of our cartel because all for one for all, I guess is what that cartel says. And so they helped out Jack and they removed Parler from the App Store. Web progressive app. I'm going to say it over and over again. I got to get a video on this. Web progressive app. You're free from the App Store. Gab has a web progressive app and you don't need the app stores. Parler should have built this. They didn't build it. Once again, strategic error. They need to build a web progressive app and they'll be free from the app stores. Anyway, and once Parler was booted from the App Store, what do you have? You have Jack Dorsey sending out this tweet. He has this little heart emoji and it shows Signal as the #1 messaging app. So he's rubbing it in. Now, Dave Rubin, who I've just won a lot of respect from me and I'm sure from all of you guys that are watching this video, Dave Rubin responded to what Jack Dorsey said. Dave Rubin has the Rubin Report on YouTube. He also has his own technology startup, which is called Locals, which is like an enclosed, protected, gated social network for channels. I think we should start using it now because Dave Rubin just won my confidence here. This guy seems like he really believes in free speech and his actions are pretty commendable here. He replies to Jack Dorsey and says, you are a pathetic weasel. Please unfollow me before you ban me. Oh, and it'll come for you too one day. Read history instead of microdosing all day. Exactly. Hubris and ego is going to, boy, it's going to really knock Jack Dorsey off his feet when it hits him. Yeah. Well said, Dave Rubin. Tim Pool said this. Tim Pool said, holy shit, this is an evil tweet. Signal only hit #1 because Apple, concert with other big tech companies, nuked their competition. So, yeah, that was the response to Jack Dorsey and his gloating. I did mention Germany as a possible solution for hosting for Parler. And why do I say that? Because Germany does have this interesting tradition of kind of protecting internet data in a way. Chancellor Angela Merkel says that the Twitter ban on President Trump was problematic. Now, her spokesperson says that, yeah, you have to, weigh the risks of the incitement to violence and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, Angela Merkel's spokesperson also said that this was problematic, what Twitter did. So even Germany, even Angela Merkel, the most neoliberal of neoliberal oligarchs, finds the ban problematic. Alexander Mercouris did a video, which you guys should check out on his channel, where he talks about how China is mocking the United States for their censorship. That says a lot, and China is correct to do it, because what Jack Dorsey did is something that, China's even going to jump on. He exposed the United States to this type of mocking from China. It was just such a bad strategic move, such a bad strategic blunder from Twitter, from big tech, from the Democrats, from all of them. This could have been handled in a much different way. All of this, they could have just let it go. They could have let it go. But now you see people like me saying, if you want to do business and you want to be safe with your online business, leave the United States. I never thought I would live to see the day where, in order to seek protection for your business, you have to look at countries like Iceland or Russia, or perhaps Netherlands, perhaps Germany, Switzerland, definitely. But there you have it. China mocking the US for its censorship. Never thought I would live to see the day, but congratulations, Jack Dorsey. Congratulations. I hope you got what you wanted. All right, guys, that's the video. PayPal, Patreon, Subscribe Star. Please help this channel out. We are also fighting hard for free speech and for freedom of business now, and to stop these cartels and these monopolies. So your help is always appreciated. And of course, the Duran shop. Pick up some merch. Here's a Duran magic mug. You can get it at the Duran shop. Take care, everybody.